You're listening to Don't Take Bullshit from Fuckers with your hosts Greg Barrett and Kane Holloway.
Hello and welcome to the Patreon.
Yeah, welcome. Congratulations on spending the money to hear more.
Yep.
Imagine wanting to hear more of us. Like, that's an amazing thing to me.
That is pretty crazy to think about.
Have you joined any podcasts Patreon?
I did one guy who does a lot of movie reviews, and I find him really funny. And I joined his Patreon for a second, and then I got out of it. I think like a month later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been a Kickstarter supporter of certain podcasts, including yours, of course, Greg. And I think I support one guy on Patreon. He's the guy that does all the mashups. That's about it.
Yeah, I've gone really close. Like, I've gone to their Patreon page a couple of times and then not pulled the trigger, which doesn't sound great if you're listening to this.
Well, also, like, I don't know. I'm like with OnlyFans too. Like, an OnlyFans, I'm not a big enough fan of a porn star or of like a hot woman to like see her deep throat a microphone. And like, I think it's also because we're in the nature of the business. I think it's a different thing. Like, if I wasn't an entertainer, then because I focus a lot on my own form of like what I bring as an entertainment value. So this show, my stand-up. So I don't subscribe to other comedians' podcasts, and I listen to what's free. But I think if I was like a big enough fan of something, I'd pay for subscriptions. Like, I'm a huge fan of The Simpsons, so I've obviously literally the only reason I have Disney Plus is for The Simpsons.
So I'm obsessed with the Bachelor, and I listen to 2 Bachelor podcasts, and I love them. And one of them, the author, the podcast host, wrote a book called "How to Win the Bachelor," which is amazing. And I bought the book. So I supported them that way, but I haven't joined their Patreon for the little extra bonus stuff.
Yeah. If I'm a big enough fan of something, I'll go the extra.
So what we're trying to say here in the long run is that if you've paid for this, we think you're awesome.
Yeah, we think you're amazing.
You're that big enough of a fan. We really appreciate it. And I'm sure you love this conversation, and it's only boring.
Well, why don't we move on to our topic at hand, which is,
you got it.
I think music is a big form is a nice coping mechanism for when you start a new relationship. I mean, you spend so much time going, listen to this song. This song makes me think about you. Oh, I can't wait to share my love of music with them. And then when you break up, you listen to the songs you used to listen to with them. And then you're like, I can't listen to it anymore. It makes me want to kill myself. And so music is a big, big thing in relationships. And you both are musicians.
Yeah.
So I think a bonus episode about music is very appropriate for this show.
Yeah. I mean, for a long time, it's been replaced by F1 racing. I'm obsessed with F1 racing now.
Yeah.
And dating shows.
Mm-hmm.
But,
oh yeah.
But for most of my life, I've been obsessed with music, and I still love it. I still love the things that I love, but I find myself listening to old music as opposed to new music.
Mm-hmm.
I listen to some stuff with True and Mighty, and then there's some new bands that I like, but I'm not completely steeped in the culture anymore.
Yeah.
And it's changed a lot. The landscape of music has changed a lot. It was for the longest time, rock and roll was the music of the people.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so I was in. And now that it's not the music of the people, I'm out.
Well, what is the music of the people nowadays?
Pop, hip hop, R&B.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, when you watch the Grammy Awards, it's all those people that are getting all the Grammys and all that kind of stuff. And then they'll throw one at the Foo Fighters.
They're the epitome of what's left of rock music. It's like, all right,
Yeah,
here,
totally.
you got one.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I love Jack White. I just bought Jack's new record,
Mhm.
you know, which
Mhm.
is, I mean, like when you're in a long-term relationship with an artist, you have to kind of go through shit with them.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
he's definitely, this record's super experimental. And
I was gonna say,
Mm.
I'm trying to dig it. What's that?
Did he print it on like solid air, or what did he put it on?
Yeah. No, he actually has changed his whole thing now and is using all kinds of computers and stuff.
Oh,
It's all sample. It's got every song practically has a sample on it.
Oh, no shit.
It's got jazz and hip hop in it, and then his crazy guitar. So it's good. It's interesting. I really like it,
Mm-hmm.
but it isn't what I love about him, which is the minimalist part of his career. That was the first part of his career, and why would he go back and do that again? He's not going to.
yeah.
Yeah, Eminem, he for the Marshall Mathers LP 2, the sequel, it was a lot of sampling. And then it was Revival, where it was the least hip hop Eminem, like lyrical Eminem that we know. He was really trying to experiment with beats and themes, and he was like expressing his disdain for what America's become and like trying to say something, and people fucking hated that album. And he poured his heart and soul into it. He like bled for that album. And then when people started shitting on it, he came back to like old form, and it was like, all right, you want old Eminem? Here you go. Here's Kamikaze, motherfucker. And it was probably my second favorite era. Actually, he goes through eras. Like when he came in, he was hot, he was new, he was changing the game, he was saying crazy shit. Then he got bad because he was on drugs, and then he almost died. And so then he comes back with Recovery, which is incredible, and it's about how he like is overcoming all this stuff. And now he's just back. He's coasting and being a genius at the same time. It's fun. It's really fun to watch.
It's weird. You can't really do that much. You can't have that big of a story arc within your comedy career.
No.
Nobody takes a year off to do experimental comedy. Or has other people come up on stage and do jokes with them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or sample old bits by Richard Pryor.
Yeah. And then just do it from a white perspective.
Oh my God.
Terrible.
Yeah, like
idea.
it doesn't have, you don't have the freedom within comedy. I mean, definitely my style's changed over the years, and my topics change, all that kind of stuff. My worldview changes somewhat.
Yeah.
But I'm still the same shitty asshole that was on stage when I started.
Yeah. It's funny. The girl I'm seeing listened to my album. She never heard my album that I came out with. I think it was 2019. And she's like,
the one that I saw you record?
Yeah, that one. And she was like,
Good.
that's a different Kane. Like I'm listening and I'm like, I've seen your recent stuff, and you're not as angry or aggressive with the audience or your material. Like I'm listening to you talk about getting married and your indecisiveness, but you're like combative with the audience. It's like it's funny, but it's like different to how you are now. And then I like thought about it, and I went back and watched like a very recent tape of mine, and yeah, I'm like really relaxed on stage, whereas before I was like coming at the audience with my shit.
Yeah, which I think is also a common think that's a phase of everybody's stand-up. I think everybody has an aggressive period where you become a little self-righteous and a little bit, and it's just a sales technique, really.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Leaning into the crowd. I got something to say.
Yep.
So
I totally thought. You know what's funny is I did a gig, kind of getting off topic a little bit, but I did a gig with like a brand new comic. He was featuring when I was headlining, and he did great. His feature set was great, and then I went up and I also had a great set. But then when we get off, we're sitting there talking. He was like, "Hey man, I was just curious. At any point during my set, did you think, fuck, I gotta follow this guy?" And I was like, no.
he asked you that?
He asked, yeah, he was like sitting there, he had like a beer, and we were sitting there at the club after the audience had left, and he asked me if I thought he was hard to follow. And I'm like, you've been doing it 2 years, man. I forgot you were up there as soon as I was on stage.
It's funny. I've been thinking about that a lot because I've been going out a lot. And the last few clubs that I've been at, the middle act has been strong. Now, sometimes they're strong because they're really good. Sometimes they're strong because they're really beat. You know, and they're telling easy jokes that people get, or they have a certain amount of like performance. You know, they do those things that you perform and then you get an applause break.
Yes.
Kind of thing. And I always think, fuck, can I follow this? And then I get up there and I realize I've been doing this 31 years. I can follow anybody.
Absolutely. Of course you can.
Yeah.
But that is, and it's such a young comic. It's also funny too. He wanted to talk about who the goats in comedy were. And I'm like, yo, you are brand new. I had these conversations 10 years ago. I don't want to have these conversations anymore.
Yeah.
I'm tired of talking about how groundbreaking Bernie Mac was. Let's talk about movies or The Ultimatum, because I can't.
Yeah.
But anyway, we have Pat, you said you had some music ideas or topics or whatever.
I think a lot about Greg. I mean, as a musician, you know, you've spoken a lot about choosing surf music and like how what an unpopular genre it is. And like, I'm a huge fan also, surprisingly, because all the other music I like sounds like several cats and several blenders. So I'm kind of wondering what turned you on to surf music? Because I can actually trace my love of surf music back to a very specific thing.
Well, for me, some of my first favorite pieces of music were movie scores.
Oh.
And I loved the theme to The Good and the Bad and the Ugly by Ennio Morricone.
Hell yeah.
And I love the James Bond theme.
Sure.
You know, and both those things were just radical and cool and sort of, you know, mysterious. And so I really I kind of got into surf that way, you know, with score music, you know. And then I heard my first surf song. I don't remember which one it was. I can't even remember what the first thing I heard was. Probably Walk Don't Run. Or no. It was not Wipeout. Oh my God, I'm fucking losing it.
Pipeline?
Pipeline was the first one that really, you know, really like kind of stuck in my head, and I wanted to figure out how to play it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Movie score.
And then I just loved it as a genre. I just kept finding that I really liked it, you know, and none of my friends went along for the ride. Like I was out there by myself.
Yeah.
You know, for a long time, you know. And then it wasn't until I wanted to make a theme song to walk on stage to. and I was taking guitar lessons from Mike Eisenstein, and I told him, you know, I had the song I wanted to record. And so we recorded it together. And then he was like, that's great. Do you have any other ones? And I'm like, oh, I got a handful of tunes that I think might work. And then we just started as sort of a surf band.
Nice.
Damn.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. But again, for 120 people, like nobody,
Yeah.
you know, we've made big, full, giant records that no one's ever heard.
It sounds great. If you're listening on the Patreon, find the
Yeah, they're great. They're great.
They sound amazing.
Yeah. Rainy Monarchs are great.
I say this without hyperbole. I think it's some of the best modern surf music I've heard. So
Thank you.
yeah,
We were debated, you know, on the surf message boards that I would go to. There was a lot of like, well, they're not really a surf band, you know, because of the
fair
sort
enough.
of,
You're a hybrid band.
because of the ska and the jazz and the, you know, all the different influences. But just being a surf band isn't interesting to me.
Right.
You know, because you run out of gas pretty quick.
Yeah. My love of surf music. My dad was an insane. He was super into music. He had, you know, hundreds of records and probably easily 1,045s, just little 7-inches.
Oh wow!
And I used to spend a lot of time digging around in them. And my favorite record was The Frantics, Werewolf.
Oh wow!
That was the song that turned me out. Even as like a little kid, it just mystified me. And that's where my love of surf music began. It was like, I loved that guitar tone and just.
Yeah, really good surf music is sort of spooky and haunted.
Yeah.
It's got like a creepy vibe to it. It's you know, and a lot of the bands that were recording it were not really great bands playing in not really great studios, making, you know, interesting, cool records.
Yeah. The noisiness of some of those records are what really makes them, I think.
Yeah, and then when Tarantino embraced that stuff and put it in Pulp Fiction and all that, you know, you were just like, wow, this is so amazing. He gets it.
Yeah. It's like I followed that, like I took that love, and then when I started getting into like harder music, punk rock, there was a lot of bands in the punk rock realm who like loved surf music. Into Agent Orange a lot, and JFA, Jodie Foster's Army. They did like straight surf music.
Oh yeah, totally.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, totally.
Just out of sheer coincidence, a guy who I went to high school with was in a punk surf band called the Defoliants from Chicago, who were awesome. They were so good. I'll turn down to the record sometime, but yeah, like.
I'd love to hear that.
Kept me going until I discovered Man or Astro Man, which has kept me in that realm until now.
Man or Astro Man are out there, man. They're great.
So good.
I mean, they're like, that's the thing. Like, you know, I think if I was to do it again, I would try and be in a Man or Astro Man type of band. Mm-hmm. I like it a little bit harder. And I really love the music. I loved a lot of the music in the 90s.
Yeah.
So I want to have a 90s influenced surf band.
Nice. Yeah, Kane, if you ever see Man or Astro Man coming to town, I don't know how you feel about surf music, positive or negative. They're a band who, with amazing energy, who fucking crank it. Like, you should absolutely check them out.
I mean, I really like going. I'm not someone who like loves going to concerts unless I'm going with somebody who loves the band. It's the same thing I feel about camping, where I'm like, I don't want to go camping. It is not ever my idea. But if somebody who like wants to experience camping with me wants to go camping, I guess I'll go. And that's how I feel about concerts, where I'm like, I don't care about this band, but you seem to really love them, so I'll roll with you, and I'm sure I'll have a good time. I've only had like a really shitty experience, and that was seeing Incubus in Compton. I can't remember where we went to some theater, and I was like, I didn't realize Incubus had more than one song, and I was like, I don't think I like Incubus. And then we went to the concert, and I'm like, I think I actively dislike Incubus forever.
Good call.
Oh shit, I hate Incubus. Hate them. Hate their fucking guts.
What was your first show, Kane? What was your first concert?
I'm so glad you asked. My mom worked as a mail carrier for years, and she worked with the dad of the guy who said the words "gotta keep them separated" in that Offspring song.
Yeah.
He wasn't like part of the band. He was just like a guy that knew the band, and they had him say that line. And so they were coming to Seattle to the Key Arena, and my mom was like, "You want to go?" And we would listen to Offspring all the time. My mom got me into a lot of like the 90s rock bands of that era, because as you guys well know, my music taste is terrible. So my mom had to like kind of like let me lead him away into these other like genres, and she turned me on to classic rock and 80s hair metal and all this shit. And she was like, "You want to go see the Offspring?" Because I really loved Pretty Fly for a White Guy. And so we went, and it was me and my stepdad and my sister, and they start this is the first time I ever smelled marijuana and seen boobies in real life. I got to see boobies in real life. I was so excited. And I was like, I think I was 25.
I think I saw my first. I'm pretty certain I saw my first boobs at a concert too.
Yeah.
At Aerosmith, and they were young. I think they shouldn't have been out.
Oh, Jesus.
That was funny. But yeah. So they started the concert by going, "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Backstreet Boys." And then there was a bunch of cardboard cutouts of the Backstreet Boys, and then Offspring came out with aluminum bats and beat the cardboard cutouts to death. And then said, "Got to keep them separated." Then wow, and that was my first concert ever.
Isn't
and I'm
that
like,
crazy? Isn't that crazy how divided the culture was at that time? That like a band would feel the need to destroy the Backstreet Boys, as opposed to if both those bands are around right now, they just exist and nobody really care.
No one gives a shit.
Right.
Like no new band is destroying like Phoebe Bridgers is now destroying a cardboard cutout of Sam Mendes.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah, that would be really funny.
I do like Phoebe Bridgers a lot. Yeah, I know it just isn't. The Backstreet Boys were such a what do you call that? Like they were so indicative of the moment and so hated by everybody.
Yeah, there was a lot of vitriol, but what's interesting is I think I've listened to more Backstreet Boys songs in my 30s than I have Offspring songs.
Oh.
Right.
People go crazy for like tearing up my heart when I'm with you. People fucking love that song, and they go ape shit whenever it's they immediately like crank it, but if like an Offspring song comes on, it's like 50-50. You're going to catch somebody who wants to hear it.
Yeah. Well, with the Offspring, I feel like a lot of people who liked it when it came out are probably a little embarrassed about liking it now. So
yeah.
They're still out touring.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they made a lot of money. They sold a lot of records.
Good for them. That band came squarely from my part of the musical woods. Like they were a hardcore punk band who like played shows in that circle. And I don't know how the hell whatever happened to them, but good for them. I'm not bad at it. Greg, what was your first show?
Oh, it's embarrassing. Well, it's not hugely embarrassing. Some people think it's great. My first concert was the Eagles.
Oh, okay.
And Roy Orbison opened for them, and they didn't even turn off the house lights. And he was, at that point in time, he was just out of favor. He just was not, and nobody was listening to Roy Orbison.
It was Pretty Woman, right?
What's that?
It was Pretty Woman?
No. No. It was post Pretty Woman, but it was pre Traveling Wilburys.
Oh, okay.
You know, he was just an oldies act.
Yeah.
And he came out and he did his songs. He's got a beautiful voice.
Mm-hmm.
He was pretty amazing. And then his pants split open. And he had to go off stage, and then he put a towel in front of himself. And then he sang Pretty Woman, and then he tore the towel out at the end, and that was it. It was sort of sad. And the Eagles were just the Eagles. They were pretty, I mean, they were good. Like, they were a good band as far as being an actual band, if you like that music. And I liked Hotel California, and I was a football player at the time, so I wasn't really deep into music.
Okay.
I was more of a jock, and that was my first concert.
How'd you end up there?
How did I end up there? You want to know how I got tickets to go?
Yeah.
It was in the same arena that we put the dog show on every year.
Oh, shit.
Oh.
And so we got free tickets. And then the next time I got free tickets to Aerosmith, who I adored. I loved Aerosmith was my first favorite band.
Okay.
And I loved Aerosmith more than I can. I mean, I would have fucked Steven Tyler.
He probably would have let you.
I really thought he looked like a chick. Like, I was really into Steven Tyler. I loved the whole band, man. I loved Aerosmith so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I started going to good concerts, and it wasn't too long before I was going to punk shows.
Okay.
I met the right people and started going to see X and that kind of stuff.
Right up your alley.
No, X was amazing. I saw X like 3 or 4 times. They were great. And then when I got into college, it was nothing but indie bands.
Okay.
Like The Replacements and Husker Du and all that really good punk.
Now we're talking. My first show, I think I was in 8th grade, or maybe I think it was a summer in between 8th grade and freshman year. Me and my buddy Pete, we got caught on the side of my house drinking Grizzly beer before the show. But my parents had still decided to let me go see Dio and Twisted Sister was my first show.
Dio
and Twisted Sister. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Twisted Sister opening and Dio headlining.
Yeah. Who was playing guitar? Who was playing guitar for Dio at that point?
It was what was his name? Shit. Not Vinny. Vinny's the drummer's name.
Was it the guy that ended up in Def Leppard?
It might have been. I can't remember his name. Like, I can picture his dumb face, but I can't remember his name. But he's a pretty famous guitarist. Like, he ended up in a lot of other bands after Dio. And Dio, I mean, say whatever you want about Dio, like, that dude's an incredible singer.
Oh, yeah.
Incredible singer.
That's a good concert. I don't think I would have really liked Twisted Sister that much, but
they were actually kind of fun. Like, they were stupid and just fun, and realized that they were maybe a little out of place because obviously the crowd hated them because of the way that they looked. They were not into it. They hadn't broken big enough yet.
Yeah, I don't think I know any Twisted Sister.
You do. We're not going to take it.
We're not gonna take it.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
In fact, that song has recently been picked up by the right wing, who are like using it as the fight back song. And I saw some dipshit. I don't know if he was actually a sitting congressman or somebody who was running. Is like, I can't believe that, Twisted Sister, they were singing for us, but now they're singing for them. And D. Snyder quote tweeted the guy. He's like, you really think we were singing songs about traditional family values?
Yeah, no, there was something where he said, like, I want this song to be used by Zelensky.
Yeah.
This is a song for the Ukraine, not for you guys.
Yeah.
Fucking wow. Jesus.
I don't know if you guys, Kate, you probably wouldn't remember this, but Greg, when D. Snyder testified before the PMRC hearings, the evil rock music hearings back in the 80s,
yeah,
D. Snyder was surprisingly effective. He was well spoken, had great arguments, like completely shot. Of course, he talks like a Goomba, but you know, he knew what he was talking about.
Yeah, he's a pretty bright guy.
Yeah.
So what was this about? He was like fighting for the right for the music or something?
They were trying to label records. They wanted to. There was a group called the PMRC, the Parents Music
Resource Council,
something like that. Yeah. And they wanted to put stickers on all the records that had explicit lyrics, and
which
of
they
course,
did.
the fans didn't want that until they realized that those stickers would make them sell tons of records.
Yeah, the parent. I remember when I think it was during the documentary about Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre. I think it was that one on HBO, and that they talked about the parental advisory sticker, how that was a form of racism to just like throw it on rap artists' albums, and then of course people are like, "Oh, I shouldn't buy this. I'm definitely buying this."
Yeah. No, they totally worked. They totally were counterintuitive.
Oh, of course. That little sticker, just that little black and white sticker on your album, you're like, fucking, I'm absolutely buying it. I don't know what's being said, and I really don't give a fuck. I just need to hear what's on this.
Yeah, totally.
It worked on me. That's how I ended up buying NWA Straight Outta Compton.
Of course. Absolutely. Anything that had a print, that was my favorite part about music, was going to get it. I mean, that's my favorite part about any form of entertainment, is I liked leaving the house to go get it.
Yeah.
I mean, I truly despise, which is why I don't like hunt for new music anymore, because I truly despise the fact that it's just like on my phone. I don't need to go and venture out for it, which maybe, maybe an old
weird.
man.
I was thinking about that this morning. I didn't go get the Jack White record. It's just sitting here.
Yes.
And I can call it up I can tell Alexa to play the record and she will.
Mm-hmm.
And I did nothing. And I haven't read the album art. I haven't looked at the credits. I haven't done any of the cool stuff I used to do. Yeah. It's kind of sad.
There's no more ritual to acquiring and listening to music.
No. And also, there's no, it used to be like records cost money. So if you didn't have money, you didn't get the record.
Yeah.
So it was almost like you had to have enough money to get records in the first place. Whereas now you pay your $3 a month or whatever it is to have Apple or Spotify or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Or you can go on YouTube and then somebody has taken the album and thrown it on there, and you can just listen to it that way.
Yeah.
You can listen to it for free. I mean, the landscape of music is now sort of changed. That it's like, here's a bunch of hits that we think you should listen to, and there's no trying to find the album. But I try to, if I really love a new artist, or if I should love any artist, I try to listen to the whole thing, because it takes a lot of fucking time to make that shit. It takes a lot of fucking energy to make that shit, and for it to just sit there, like it's almost like the art is so inconsequential now when it comes to, but a lot of time is taken to like entice you with the art specifically for that album, what I'm trying to say with this album. It makes me really hate Spotify in general, even though we're on Spotify, which you can find the show at. I would actually love to. I would like to take this image, and I would like to make an album of like our first 100 episodes. That would be amazing.
And put it out on vinyl.
On vinyl.
How are you listening to Don't Take Bullshit from Fuckers these days? I'm only doing vinyl, dude. I listened to it on vinyl, the thick stuff. I actually got myself a really high-end record player. I'm listening to. It's still recorded through Zoom.
So the sound is really no
on
different.
Tiny computer mics that barely do the job.
By the way, speaking of Mike, did you know that there's a new turn of phrase when saying that a podcast is good? Do you know about this new phrase?
No, what is it?
You can keep the mics.
Mm-hmm.
You can keep the mics. A lot of comments on the latest TikTok video of the podcast. A lot of comments are, "You guys can keep the mics."
Oh wow,
It's
well,
really
that's
nice. It's really nice.
Do they say the opposite?
I don't know what the opposite is because they
Maybe
haven't said it.
mics?
No, they haven't said whatever the opposite of it is. I mean, the rest of it, the rest of the comment section is people debating on the vaccine, which I think is such an old argument to be having now. But they're having it in they're having it in the comment section, which is really weird.
Are we talking about the vaccine?
No, we're talking about the vet.
Oh, for God's sake!
Yeah, and it turned into a vaccine conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody in the comment section was like, "This is how I feel when I talk about vaccines," and then just invited this entire comments thread of people being like, "I don't no vaccine," and they're like, "Yes, vaccine," and it's a whole fight. I'm like, bro, we're talking about dogs.
But can you imagine thinking it's super important to get your point across in the comment section of the "Do not take bullshit from fuckers" TikTok feed? Like, this is the place I make my stand.
Right
this
here.
This is where I'm heard. The revolution starts here.
Right here, right now. Because these sheeple, I've never heard of this show before, but I think this clip right here, I'm gonna let the sheeple know. My sister had a really funny line that's getting a lot of love. I think you'll like. She said, "All vets are being influenced by big farm," and it's getting quite a bit of love. Anytime Summer does something funny on the internet, I'm like proud. I'm like really proud of her whenever she does something funny on the internet. But anyway,
my sister was great at tweeting.
Yes.
And I was always so proud of her because I was like, I can't do it. I don't have the skill set, and she was good at it.
It's so funny. To be in comedy and then just think like, man, my sister. I'm glad we're doing a bonus episode because I would never say this to her face, but my sister is a lot funnier than me.
My sister was just super funny.
Mm-hmm.
She was the only person I would call to try jokes on.
Yeah, me too. I do the same.
Because she would laugh, but she would also tell me when something wasn't that great.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I've done something like it before, or something like that.
Yeah,
she was amazing.
Yeah, my sister also opened my eyes to a lot of really good ballads, and we would listen to Mariah Carey a lot together.
Mm.
And let me tell you something: there's nothing like belting out do 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 do.
Dude, this is where you lose Pat and I.
Pat, like you guys don't know Mariah Carey songs.
Totally.
I mean, not really.
Couldn't put, if you held a gun to my head and said sing one.
Yeah,
the only thing I can remember is the Christmas thing.
Liars. Two liars.
Yeah. I seriously don't. I couldn't tell you one.
Uh-huh. Okay. Sure. I guess I'm just an island unto myself. But that's fine because I'll blast all the Mariah Carey music I want.
Yeah, well, we'll let you.
I'm going to throw a party for you, and it's going to be an all Mariah Carey playlist. Yeah.
That kind of music I hate. And I was watching SNL this weekend, and there's an artist named Camila Cabello.
Oh, yeah.
And her first song, I literally in the middle just went, I was watching with Amira and Mighty, and I just went, I fucking hate this. Like I hate it. Like
Yeah.
it's the kind of music that makes me go, why do people make music like this?
Mhm.
Who thought of this? Who
Mhm.
thinks like this?
Yeah.
Who writes like this? Like it just
Mhm. Yeah.
it's just but she's on SNL and I'm sitting in my place in Studio City. So really,
Yeah, but so was Ashley Simpson. She was on SNL. Look what happened to her.
yeah,
You know?
yeah, true.
I think there's a lot of crap out there. There's so much bad music put up. Like anytime I make a playlist on Spotify, it'll give me music they think goes with the songs I'm picking. And then I go, okay, Spotify, let me hear what it is you think would go in this playlist. And I click on it. And it's like this candy corn, just awful horse shit music where it's like talking about, there's this one song called When I Drink Tequila. And then it's just a bunch of house music. He's like, when I drink tequila, and then it's like show do 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 do, and it's just a song sold to clubs. So when you hear it, you're like, yeah, we should drink tequila. Let's do tequila shots, and then try and burn the club to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
If
like,
they
yeah.
play it at the club, I don't like it.
Yes, yeah, I don't have a club demeanor. Even when I drank and smoke weed and stuff. They're like, "You want to go to the club?" Oh my god, you'd really have to drag me to the club because the music there was never something that I love. But I do like a mashup. I do like when two songs you didn't think would go together, you mush them together. Like "Don't Stop Believin'" and "Pony" by Genuine somehow seem to fit perfectly together. It is fucking bizarre, and it's my new favorite song.
Everybody that was a participant on the show The Ultimatum, all of those people go to the club.
Yes.
Every one of them goes to the club.
Ugh.
They'll dance like they go to the club.
Mm-hmm.
They'll dress like they go to the club.
Yes.
And they go to the club. They all booty dance. They all twerk.
Mm-hmm.
They're the worst.
Yes, they are. They are terrible. I can't wait to talk about The Ultimatum. I'm almost done. If you could see, I got Netflix on in the background. I'm at a part where they can't stop getting drunk and having drunken fights at bars where they should just be having fun.
Yeah.
It's really sad to watch. And the music they pick. The music they pick for these conversations is so dramatic. It's so dramatic.
I thought about that the entire time I was watching that show. There's no way those are real songs. Those are 100% written just for that show, just for the transitions in that show.
Oh my God, terrible. I hate when I think it was Shanique and Randall were having a conversation, and then Shanique would shut down, and it'd be quiet. And then she start talking and the music would ramp up and you'd think, okay, the conversation is wrapping up because this song is going to take us off into the new scene with the other couples. But then she shut down again and then the music stopped. And then Randall was like, come on, talk to me. And then she starts talking again and the music went back up. And I'm like, who the fuck mixed this scene? Who mixed this? There's too much up and down music. Let's move the fuck on. How about that? Let's move on. This music is confusing me.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think we should wrap this one up.
For sure.
What was your first concert?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let us know.
Yeah, put it in the comment section. And if there's other music you think we would enjoy or hate, and much in the same way as memes. If you have the same way with memes, we'll give it a shot. We'll give it a listen. And if we hate it, we'll talk about it and we'll tell you. And if we love it, we'll tell you that as well. And we appreciate you guys being our Patreons. Thanks for being our patrons.
Thanks for being our patrons.
And we'll see you guys next time.